So, we're all pretty used to AI that can chat with us, right? But what if it could actually do things for us? I mean, really do them. That's the huge game-changing promise of what's called Agentic AI. It's a massive leap forward, so let's get right into it.
I mean, you've probably felt this, right? It's that classic frustration. You ask your AI to draft the perfect email, but it can't actually hit send. It can map out your whole vacation itinerary, but it has no way to book the flights. And that's because, well, most AI today are just thinkers. They're not doers. They're basically stuck inside a digital box, completely cut off from interacting with the real world.
But that's exactly the problem Agentic AI is here to solve. We're talking about a fundamental shift, moving away from AI as just a passive information processor and turning it into an active, even autonomous agent that can actually take action. So let's break down what that really means. Okay, this table really lays out the difference perfectly. On one side, you have a traditional large language model or LLM. It's pretty passive. You give it a prompt, it spits back an answer based on its static, old training data. But an agentic system, totally different ballgame. It's interactive. It works in a dynamic context. It uses an external memory to learn and adapt, and it's always getting better. The key takeaway here is that it's not just following a simple instruction, it's actively working to achieve a specific goal. And this visual really drives the point home. Look at the left side. That's your traditional LLM, living in its own little closed world. All its knowledge is locked in from the day it was trained, which means it can get stale or just be plain wrong. But the agentic system on the right, it's in a constant conversation with the real world. It can use tools, it can look up current information, and it can even think about the results it gets. This means it can actually reason its way to a solution with up-to-the-minute accuracy. It's a game changer.
So this gets us to the absolute core concept, agentic reasoning. Think of it as the bridge between thinking and doing. It's not just about forming a plan, it's about having the ability to act on that plan, and then, crucially, to learn from that interaction with the world. This is the magic ingredient that turns a simple chatbot into a true autonomous agent. Okay, now this diagram might look a little intense at first glance, but don't worry. This is basically our roadmap for the rest of this explainer. It shows how the whole agentic system works from the ground up. We're going to break it down into three main parts. First up, we'll look at the foundational skills that every single agent needs to even function. Then, we'll get into how these agents actually learn and get smarter on their own. And finally, we'll see how you can get multiple agents to team up and tackle really complex goals. So let's start with the basics. All right, so what's in an agent's basic toolkit? Let's dig into the foundational skills that let it figure out what to do and how to interact with the world around it. First up, and this one's absolutely critical, is planning. So if you give an agent a really big, ambitious goal, like, say, plan and launch a new marketing campaign, it's not just going to dive in headfirst. No, the first thing it does is decompose that huge goal into smaller, manageable steps. Things like research competitors, define the target audience, draft the ad copy, schedule the social media posts. You get the idea. It's basically creating a super detailed to-do list for itself so it can tackle the project effectively. Next up is tool use, and this is where an agent's capabilities just explode. It can call on external tools to handle things it can't do on its own. So, for example, it can grab a calculator for some precise math, or run a piece of software using a code interpreter. It can even use something called an API, which is really just like a digital messenger, to connect to another service and, say, book that flight for you. And finally, we have web search. This is the skill that completely solves that stale data problem we talked about earlier. Instead of being stuck with whatever it learned months or even years ago, an agent can actively search the web right now to get the most current and relevant information it needs for any task. But look, just having a toolkit is only the beginning. The real magic of these agents is that they aren't static. They can actually learn and get better on the job. So let's move on and see how this builds into an agent that literally gets smarter over time. Just think about how we humans learn from our mistakes. We try something, maybe it doesn't work out, so we step back, reflect on what went wrong, and then we try again with a new strategy. Well, that's exactly how these agents learn. They use this incredibly powerful feedback loop of reflecting, replanning, and retrying. And all of this learning gets stored in what's called agentic memory. Now, this is not like our short-term memory that forgets things in a flash. Nope, this is a persistent, long-term knowledge base. The agent remembers which strategies worked and which ones were a total flop, and that allows it to get more competent and more efficient with every single task it performs. So, a single smart agent that learns on its own, that's already pretty impressive. But what happens when you create a whole team of them? Well, that's where we get to the most advanced, most exciting layer of this technology: collective intelligence. I want you to imagine a top-tier software development team, right? You've got a project manager, a coder, a tester, a specialist for quality assurance. Agentic AI can create a digital version of that exact team. You can have a manager agent that delegates tasks to other specialized agents. These agents then communicate, they share knowledge, they can even debate the best way forward. This whole collaborative process just amplifies their intelligence way beyond what any single agent could ever do on its own. And hey, this isn't just some sci-fi theory. This stuff is already being put into practice. So let's take a look at where this technology is making a real-world impact right now.
Agentic AI is already popping up in some incredibly complex and important fields. We're seeing it speed up scientific discovery by acting as a kind of AI research partner. It's helping to build smarter, more adaptable robots. It's providing assistance in healthcare diagnostics, and it's even starting to automate big chunks of the software development lifecycle. It's really happening. Take Google DeepMind, for example. They're using these autonomous agents to sift through massive scientific datasets and run super complex simulations. They're basically acting as tireless AI research assistants. And because of this, they're helping scientists discover new materials at a speed that would have been completely unimaginable just a few years ago.
Then you've got the world of commerce. Amazon is exploring how agentic AI can optimize its mind-bogglingly complex logistics networks. We're talking about agents that could one day manage inventory, predict supply chain problems before they happen, and make routing decisions more efficiently than ever before. Meanwhile, over at Meta, they're pushing the frontier of something called embodied AI. Basically, they're developing agents that act as the brains for robots, helping them perceive, understand, and interact with our messy, unpredictable physical world. It's pretty wild stuff. The progress so far has been absolutely incredible, but the journey is far from over. There are still some pretty significant challenges to tackle on the road ahead.
Right now, researchers are really focused on a few key hurdles. Like, how do you make these agents truly personalized to a user's specific needs and quirks? How can they maintain focus on a long-term goal without getting sidetracked? How do we even train massive teams of these agents efficiently? And maybe the most important one of all, we need really robust safety and governance frameworks to make sure these powerful systems act reliably and, exactly as we intended.
But ultimately, what we're really seeing here is a paradigm shift. This quote says it all. We are fundamentally reframing what an AI is, moving from just a simple thinker to an autonomous actor that plans, acts, and learns by doing.
And this brings us to a final and absolutely crucial question. As these AIs move from being passive tools to being autonomous actors that make decisions in our world, who's accountable for what they do? Who's responsible for their actions? It's a question we're all going to have to answer as this incredibly powerful technology continues to evolve.